Even though I've got this reputation of knowing everybody and, networking, I hate going into the room. I have to literally lean in and take a deep breath and just walk into a room and just go hi to people. What I would say to all of you is you cannot ignore talent, and especially new talent in the industry. You are the backbone of the industry, because we all know that you are the next generation coming through. And there's William Goldman, and there's a brilliant on YouTube, there's a brilliant sort of interview with him about adventures in screen trade. And he says in that he talks about a senior exec who goes home with 50 scripts, and each one he picks up, he said, maybe this is the one. And that is the attitude that many of us have to have about everybody that we meet, just an openness of spirit, and not think that everybody else is a waste of time and a shyster and whatever else. And if you do meet somebody that you don't want to talk to, or just monopolizing you a little bit too much, just go, do you know, it's been lovely talking to you, but I'm going to go and get a drink at the bar, or I'm going to go to the toilet, or do you know what, I've seen somebody over there, I really want to catch up, but it's been really lovely to talk to you. And that's an easy way to, are you on Insta? Are you on Twitter? Are you on, whatever social media is the thing of the day? And just, say that, or are you on LinkedIn or whatever else? Those are the kind of easy ways in and easy ways out. Easy way out. Networking is important, and it serves a purpose, a huge purpose, and everybody hates it because they think it's about, having to put yourself out there. And, there is that kind of English and Irish kind of sense of I'm not good enough and I'm an imposter. There is that thing of fake it till you make it, but it's also about connecting with people that you might have something in common with. If you're at a film festival, ask people what films they're seeing, or what do they think of that film, or have they seen other films by that filmmaker. Just turn around and have a conversation. It doesn't have to be, what do you do and how can you benefit my career? It's literally about finding out who somebody is, finding out about their work, what do they like to do, and seeing if there's a connection there. No man is your friend, no man is your enemy, and every man is your teacher. I think that people feel very uncomfortable and awkward. So there are ways to get around it by just having 3 or 4 questions at the back of your mind, like ask people about what they do. People love to talk about themselves. And, it's very easy to draw them out on that. What do you do is a very simple opening kind of gambit. I loved, if somebody's asked a question at a Q&A, I loved what you said about that. Or if you're going to a Q&A, at a festival or a BAFTA screening, or one of the events, ask somebody what's the development process, or what was their breakthrough job, or how do you keep your voice in your work, or how do you anything that you've stumbled across, ask them, because everybody's got their own version and how to get their moment. Or where do your ideas come from? And how do you cope with procrastination, and how do you cope with writer's block, and how do you cope with confidence crisis, and how do you network? And you'll be surprised at what people come back with. Have a strategy or a game plan. Start with who you know, your own kind of network. Maybe the local festival programmer in your region. Maybe the local cinema owner. Talk to them about maybe setting up like a drinking session, or a session for people to meet up with after a certain screening, or if there's a possibility to do a screening of some short films, that kind of thing, and just get people to kind of pitch in that way. Don't have an expectation that anyone owes you anything, because they don't. Nobody owes you their time. So I think that's one of the things to be considered. The internet's your best friend. It's filled with friends and lots about the industry. So get online. You can network without even having to leave your bed if you want to. There's lots of kind of online things. A lot of comedians use kind of Twitter and different kind of and Instagram to do little reels and stuff, and to hit jokes online. I think that's quite a useful way of getting yourself out there. Look up your local, where are your local film festivals, where are your local film events within your region, and find out who your regional film body is. You've got there's the BFI, which is nationwide. There's Creative England, there's Film Cymru, there's Scottish Screen. There's so many different avenues, Northern Ireland Screen, so many. Just get onto their mailing list. I would also say that, attend conferences, attend the TV and writers conferences, the film conferences. Like Manchester Film Festival had a whole series of in-person kind of panels that were really useful. And there's some lovely people in the room, and they had TV and coffee out, so you could have a quick coffee and a drink with people afterwards. And that was, you know, it was really nice, because you've just heard somebody talk, so you've got a reason to approach them, or you've heard somebody ask a question, you know. And it was really interesting to kind of have that connectivity again, especially after the last 2 years. We're not going to mention the C word. But also, you know, you can turn around to somebody at a film festival that you just you meet standing at the bar, and you just go, you know, what are you looking forward to seeing, or what have you seen in the festival that you've liked, or that kind of thing. Volunteer is a great way to make connections. Volunteering at a you know, at a festival, an event, an organization, holding your own screening. You know, it's a great way to get an inside track of what's going on and meeting other like-minded people. Again, don't bombard people when approaching them and pitch at them, but, you know, ask for a coffee. Don't ask somebody to read something, ask them for a coffee. And people will, once they've made that connection with you and they like you, they will think about you and think of ways to try and help you. By and large, people do. When meeting people, you know your project, know it in one line, and be able to sum it up, whether it's what you worked on or what you're interested in making. Don't go on about it. I mean, I know I'm talking a lot here, but I've been asked to, but, you know, just be really concise in what you say, and, you know, and give them the space to ask you whether they can read it, that they'll read it or not, or if it's something you want them to read or watch. Don't assume that they will. Be clear about what you want from any kind of meeting that you're asking people to have. You know, if you're going for coffee, be really, you know, clear about, you know, what it is. Is it that you're looking for advice on agents? Are you looking for feedback? Are you looking for connections? Are you looking for introductions to get work? Be really clear about it's okay to turn up and tell me, you know, I really want to work in the industry, or I really want to find out about internships, or I may not know about these things, but I may be able to send you off in the right direction. Before meeting, do your homework. I think I've touched on that already. Make a list of questions to ask. How did you get into the business? You know, who helped you most when you started out? What would you do differently now? What do you like in a project? You know, most people are you know, interested and comfortable talking about what they know. So just draw them out, and don't forget to breathe as you ask questions. I was talking about business cards before. I think that's a bit antiquated, but on my phone, in my contacts, I have Farah Abushwesha card, and I just share my email and my phone number with people, my website with people now, and it's just, you know, you can send it to them on a WhatsApp, and so that's really useful. Big, huge thing that I've said before is, when you've met with somebody and they've given you your time, write to them and thank them. Thank yous go a long, long way. And, you know, because once you've bonded with somebody, you know, it's really great, and you do want to help them if they're nice. Don't bombard people. They don't get back to you, they're entitled not to get back to you. If they, you know, take a long time to read something, you know, they're busy. So just don't get rude about it. Don't have an expectation that they will meet you, or that they will look at your work, or they will get you work. It's not a given, but, you know, just be pleasant. You know, honey is better than vinegar. A thing that I said years ago, I didn't get funding for the BFI for years. And the truth of it is, that was my fault. I literally only applied for 1 or 2 things over the course of about 3 or 4 years. And I took that rejection as a kind of, you know, well, they're not interested in me. Why didn't they give me this? And it was only when I started to apply more regularly for funding applications that, you know, the standard of my work and the standard of my applications became much better. So I think, don't be put off by one rejection. You know, keep applying. You know, it's all about just getting into the practice of applying and putting yourself out there. And that's part of the network.
I think now is a really good time for people, because it's so busy out there. So we're constantly looking for new people across all departments all the time. And also with social media and things like that, there are so many ways now to find out about what the opportunities are. Sort of back when I started out, you just kind of had to be in the right place at the right time, in a way, to hear about those opportunities. Whereas now, just this week, I've seen 2 production companies advertising for assistant roles, just because I follow them on Instagram. So I think there's lots of ways of kind of really being plugged into the industry as you're starting to join. one of the first things to really think about is how to present yourself positively. So particularly when you're trying to break into the industry, it's a natural reaction, I think, to think about what you can't do, and to kind of say in your letter or in your email, I have no experience. Never start off from that point. Start off with what you can do and what's transferable, because we've all done something that is relatable to an industry. Because basically entry positions, you're going to be making tea, you're going to be kind of doing the kind of general running around for people. Everyone's done some of that at some point. So really think about what you can do and why that's useful to me. I think Farah really has touched on this already, but absolutely know the projects that are made by the company that you're going for, know what we make, be able to talk about that. So if you're particularly interested in thrillers, look for companies that make thrillers. It's a really good place to start. That's not to say you might not end up working at a comedy company. That might not be your favorite genre, but it might be an opening, and that's great. But if you're going for that comedy interview and you haven't got much knowledge about it, gen up on it. We've talked about Farah talked about some tricks for that, so you can do things like read reviews and as was mentioned before, watch clips. Ideally, watch whole episodes if you can, but time can be short. But really make sure you know for each company you're going for. Don't see it as a generic kind of send out to companies. Tailor your email to each company, and then tailor your interview to each company, because it makes a difference. I've heard so many people say, well, I've done a media degree, I just want to work in the media. That's not particularly attractive to me. Send that initial email, but don't chase up too quickly. We're all busy. Sometimes I don't get to my emails for a couple of weeks, my non-urgent ones. And also, as far as I said, don't kind of go into too much detail. Don't automatically assume I'm going to read your script, but you can send me a little, a paragraph pitch, and then say, if you're interested, I can send more material on. So I think it's about tiptoeing a bit in. So kind of getting your foot in the door, and then opening the door a bit wider and getting in, rather than trying to burst in straight away. I think it's really important to kind of to know about new writers, new directors, new talent. A really good way of getting into that is not just via television or film or whichever you're looking to get into, but also by local theatre groups, for example. Certainly in Cardiff, when I was kind of earlier on in my career, we all kind of, actors, directors, producers, aspiring people, we all hung out in the same places. We went to the same new theatre stuff. We got to know each other. We got to build connections. People have made feature films based on those connections. So I think it's a really good to kind of think not just about television, but about all the, the theatre stuff, the film stuff that's happening locally as well. One thing that we haven't really touched on as well, I think, is about making friends with assistants. You don't have to make contact or have coffee with an exec producer. That might not be the best way forward. We're busy, and we're generally really busy trying to set shows up. But there'll be assistants within the company who are constantly my eyes and ears, and the same with agents. Don't go for the top agent within the company. Try and make contact with one of the assistants. They are always going to be the eyes and ears of the people above them, because they're the ones on the ground, going out, seeing the new theatre stuff, meeting new people. But also, they're the agents and the EPs of the future. So they're relationships for life. They're not just relationships for now and what they can get you now. So I think never underestimate the power of an assistant and getting in with them.